spacecraft. And here we can see one of my favorite traditions for SpaceX crewed flights. They are adding their signatures to the wall of the White Room. So because this is the first orbital all-civilian mission, they're signing their names next to the X logo. For previous NASA crew missions, the NASA astronauts have signed their name there next to the NASA meatball to the left.
Yes, and all members of the crew will get an opportunity to sign. And if you are wondering, this is penciled into part of their procedures to grab the Sharpie and sign the wall.
Yep, it's actually written in for the advanced team, which is the group of people that arrive to the pad prior to the crew, and they are the advanced team prepares the pad and everything in the White Room with all the tools necessary for closeout operations. And Sharpie is one of the tools listed in the procedure for the advanced team to ensure is there prior to the crew's arrival.
And one final hug. So in the background, around the seal, you can see that is Dragon, and the side hatch is open. In a few minutes here, we will...
Ninjas.
SpaceX Ninjas, yes.
And there you can see Jared Isaacman and Chris Dombrowski also making their way across the crew arm to the White Room to join the rest of their crew. Also getting a moment to take in some of the sights. And it's such a nice day over there in Florida. It's
a great day.
As John mentioned earlier, we were only 10% likelihood of violating launch conditions, which is a rarity for Florida, especially this time of year. So, you know, if you've got a blue sky day like they have, you got to stop and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think, 10%, that's not only asset weather, contingency splashdown, and planned splashdown in 3 days. So you're really having to get everything to come together. So I hope we can use this day. It looks great.
Yeah, that's a great point. So in selection and ultimately just giving the final go or no-go decision point for launch today, the splashdown weather in 3 days was also an important factor for consideration because that's part of the journey as opposed to missions to the International Space Station, where the NASA astronauts are typically on board station for a couple of months. We don't have to worry about splashdown weather then because who knows. But at this point, because the astronauts are coming home in 3 days, we did have to do quite a bit of evaluation for those splashdown conditions prior to ultimately proceeding into what we see here today.
You can see on your screen that Dr. Cyan, Proctor, and Haley Arsenault have ingressed the vehicle. Again, ingress is just a aerospace word for entering. They're now working on getting strapped into their seats, and it looks like Jared and Chris are awaiting their turn to ingress Dragon.
Yeah, you might have seen that one of the SpaceX ninjas, let's call it, was inspecting the floor where Dr. Cyan was walking prior to getting into the capsule.
Dragon for initial contact.
Dragon, I have you loud and clear. Good morning.
Good morning. We've got you loud and clear, too. It's a beautiful
Good morning.
It sure is. Welcome to have you aboard.
So that was Dr. Cyan Proctor just doing an initial comm check with SpaceX core Sarah Gillis back here in Mission Control. And we just saw Jared add his signature to the wall, and Jared and Chris are now getting ready to ingress to the capsule as well.
Yeah, we'll be hearing more of those comm checks as we get closer to T0. One thing to note are...
Yeah, that's a great point. We'll hear quite a bit of communication, as you said, Andy, and the communication from Dragon to anyone and anyone to Dragon is actually structured. So as you just said, yeah, there's that Quindar tone, that ping, which is an indication of incoming comms. And then whoever is calling states the destination of their call. So in that case, they called SpaceX. and then they identified themselves as Dragon afterwards. So we heard the ping, SpaceX Dragon, indicating the Dragon capsule was calling SpaceX.
On your right-hand screen, we've got an inside look live inside of Dragon. We have Haley in seat number 1. She called it the window seat. Looks like she's got her 5-point harness already on. Dr. Cyan Proctor sitting in seat 3. That is the pilot seat. And looks like she's getting waiting to get her harness strapped on shortly here. Chris just entered the vehicle as well and sat in seat number 4 and was very excited.
He did say he was going to have a very big grin on his face.
Yep, and he does. He is in seat number 4 as the mission specialist for this mission.
And now about to ingress is Commander Jared Isaacman.
This is so exciting to finally see this crew getting into their seats. These are their customized seats inside of Dragon. Again, the spacesuit and the seat are basically designed together, and they're custom made for each.
Are all sized, small, medium, and large, basically, to help make sure that each crew member can fit comfortably in their seat and safely.
Really cool view of the side hatch. If you look closely on the right thigh of everyone's spacesuit, there's a port. It's a black port. Jesse mentioned an umbilical. That is where the umbilical will plug into each of the crew's respective suits from the chair. And again, this houses the electronics, things like communication, as well as air in the form of nitrox.
And what we see there is the iPad that the rotation of the seats, the seats will be rotated backwards so that the crew will almost be on their backs and allowing them better access to that touchscreen panel there that is above their heads.
Yeah, I think when we do we've got the same camera angle we've seen before when we get seat rotation. Also gives you an idea of the cargo that's underneath.
Yeah.
That they'll be using during their 3-day orbits around the Earth. So they'll get access to that, be able to unpack it, get out the experiments, get out dinner, things like that.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the cargo